much. Thank you. This was the last panel of today, but don't go away yet. Don't rush, because we're a little early and people are still outside this room and we have to wait maybe a little bit to get them over here, because it's almost time to wrap up those 2 days, those 2 fruitful days, but not yet. And as we heard the youth just one session ago, they're ready to take the next step. But I think it's not only the youth, it's the whole EuroDIG community. And it's only a few months of us ahead that we have the IGF in Berlin. And if you please could be, stay in the room and be a little bit quiet, because we have first the host of the IGF in Germany, who I really like to give the floor to tell us more about what will be happening in Berlin, because I really think we all look forward to take the next step. And it's not that we finish today, it's only another step ahead of more debate, more taking things into practice. And well, I think, Rudolf, are you ready to come to the floor already? Rudolf Grindel from the German host. And I give you the mic, and you have some time.
Thank you very much. Waiting perhaps for people to arrive and sit down. Yes, first of all, of course, also from my side, big thank you to our hosts, to the organizers, Dutch government, City of The Hague, the EuroDIG Secretariat, everybody who was involved in the organization and the rolling out of this wonderful EuroDIG. I'm very much impressed, and all the people I've talked to, we are all amazed about the depth and the strength of this program and the very good debate that we had. And I think it is indeed a very, very good pillar on the bridge that we are all building from IGF to IGF. So last year we were in Paris, the year before we were in Geneva, and we have very strong pillars between these IGFs, and one of the strongest pillars, I have to say, is always the EuroDIG, also this year. So thank you all very much, and it's already the evening, so I am between you and the dinner. I will not talk too much, but I want to give you a little impression of what you can expect and you should expect from the IGF in Berlin. My name is Rudolf Griedel. I am head of the unit that is in charge of preparing the IGF from the government side in the Ministry of Economic Affairs in Germany. Me and my team, together with an interministerial group that we have set up 1 year ago, we are planning the whole organizational part. We are in contact with the United Nations and, of course, with the multi-stakeholder community in Germany and worldwide. I myself am also a member of the MAG, so involved in the preparations of the content of the IGF. And in this capacity, I would like to invite you to a little outlook on what you can expect in Berlin. Berlin, that is 25th to 29th of November, and it will be 5 days full of internet governance, and I can tell you it will be an IGF that you will not ever forget, you will always remember. We will start, because it is so great, of course, we will start on day 0 with a high-level multi-stakeholder meeting, and our minister has sent out invitations already to ministers all around the world, also to CEOs and high-ranking representatives of companies, the civil society and the technical community, and we already have a very good feedback actually on these invitations, and for the moment it looks like if we would have a really high-ranking attendance on this day 0 high-level multi-stakeholder event. So we would be very honored if your leaders from whatever stakeholder group you are in the room could also think about attending and having a contribution to this high-level meeting. It will be hosted by our minister, Minister Altmaier, the German Minister of Economic Affairs, and we will also probably have representatives from other ministries in Germany, but as I told you, also from other countries in Europe and all over the world. We will, of course, have the normal day zero proceedings that are common to all those who know the IGF and have been around for some time. And on day one, we are a very lucky situation that the Chancellor, Angela Merkel, she will also be present and open the IGF in person together with some high-ranking keynote speakers that we have not yet identified, but also there we want to give a multi-stakeholder opening ceremony that reflects the whole variety and diversity of the internet governance community all over the world. And we have been working within the MAG under the great chairmanship of Lynn Santamour, who is sitting here, over the last months to have a, I would say, really great program. And for the first time, we managed to boil it down to 3 major issues that we are trying to give like the overarching themes, which would not mean that many of the themes that are below these overarching themes would not be discussed, but we have the 3 themes, which are data governance, inclusion, and safety, security, stability, and resilience, which is one theme. That is something which I think helps to streamline the policy questions that we are going to discuss. It helps to structure the discussion, and it also actually helps to communicate to the outside world that is perhaps not so familiar with internet governance fora and what we are all doing there, to tell them what's going on there. So based on these 3 pillars, we will have wonderful workshops that the MAG has been under the scrutiny of the MAG and have not been chosen and will be published this week or next week. We will have great main sessions, the BPFs, the NRIs, the DCs. All of them will have a place and a spot, or several places and spots to present their very valuable work. And on the last day, we had some ideas from our German parliament, because at the beginning of the German application for the IGF host was our parliament. It was a commission of the parliament already in 2013 that said, okay, at one point in time Germany should apply for being a host of the IGF, and then we had another resolution, and finally, coming out of this parliamentary resolution, a decision by the government to apply and so forth. So the parliamentarians or legislators in our system, they have very, very strong sympathy with internet governance, with multi-stakeholderism. And they said, okay, we want to be part, and not only us, we think that the parliamentarians of the world should be part of this exercise. And that's why we will convene together as an IGF, a parliamentarian segment, a parliamentarians meeting of all the parliamentarians all around the world. And something that is very dear to our heart as a German government is that we, although have had 3 Western European countries in a row as host countries, want to reach out to the Global South and have a broad participation of the Global South at our IGF, and specifically also in the parliamentarians meeting. And we set aside a certain sum of money that we have transferred to the IGF Trust Fund that is dedicated to allow representatives of the Global South to attend the IGF, specifically also the parliamentarians. So there will be for the first time this legislators or parliamentarians meeting, depending on the system where you're coming from. And we think that it is good to have it at the end, because then you could feed in all the findings and all the debates that have been going on during the IGF into these fora, which at the end will be the ones who regulate or legislate. And we think that this is perhaps something that could be very interesting. It will be the first time, so let's see. We hope that many parliamentarians from the European Parliament, from other European national parliaments, but as I said, also from around the world. Because the outreach to the world that is not so familiar with internet governance, but which is more and more concerned by what is happening here, that is something that we have really made one of the priorities as a host country. So we have reached out not only to parliamentarians, but also to businesses that are from completely different sectors than the IT sector, like the car industry, like the pharmaceutical industry, like the chemical industry, like SMEs. So that is one of the aspects that we are really hard working on. I forgot to tell you the motto of the IGF of this year, and it reflects what I was saying before. It is one world, one net, one vision. And under this umbrella, we hope to have a good discussion that is based on what has happened in Paris, what's happening here, and which will perhaps a little bit reflect on the way we will govern. We will have to govern our internet, our dear internet, dear to our hearts, over the next 10, 20 years perhaps. And it is very, very fortunate in our view that we had the HLDPC report that has been discussed here for the first time in a regional IGF, and that will then also feed into the discussion in Berlin. I leave you with that, and I brought with me a little film that gives you some impressions of what you can expect. Some of you might have seen it, some not. So I would like to give the technical stuff a sign. Film now, please.
If a president of a country has to call the owner of the internet, who should he or she call? There's nobody. But it doesn't mean that there are no rules.
We have a social problem that is associated with the use of these media, and we have to educate people.
Offline human rights and fundamental rights should be the same in the online world.
We need to remember that technology should not take away our humanity.
20 years ago, the internet was more or less a technical issue with some political implications, but today it's a political issue with a technical component.
Artificial intelligence is a super powerful technology.
Virtual reality, big data, criminal activities on the internet, all of those are incredibly important.
I do feel that we are an adaptive society. The Internet Governance Forum will help sustain the internet and make it stronger.
Everyone who has a stake in a topic that's being under discussion can have an equal opportunity.
Let's keep working together to transform the internet and get it a safe and democratic space.
Digitalisierung kann nur mit Vertrauen gelingen. Wir danken den französischen Gastgebern und wir freuen uns darauf, die Diskussion in Berlin fortzusetzen.
Berlin is really a vibrant place, specifically the tech community and the digital community.
In Deutschland arbeiten viele engagierte Menschen daran mit, das Internet der Zukunft zu gestalten. Die vor uns liegenden Aufgaben verlangen internationale Zusammenarbeit und gegenseitiges Vertrauen. Lassen Sie uns gemeinsam nach Lösungen suchen. Ich freue mich auf Ihren Besuch und lade Sie herzlich zum Internet Governance Forum 2019 nach Berlin ein.
The subtitles got somehow lost in cyberspace. For those who do not speak German, this was an invitation by our Chancellor to all of you to come to Berlin.
Dankeschön, Rudolf. And I hope you keep your promise. I'm sure you will. We're really looking forward to come to Berlin. But first, we really like to look back at 2 fantastic days in EuroDIG. What started a year ago with us accepting to be the host, it went just like this. And last year and those 2 days. And it's time for me to hand over the mic and to hand over the duty to Thomas Snyder. And I have to look, he's the chairman of the European Support Association. And for me, it comes to an end. It's EuroDIG again. And before, well, afterwards, we will thank you. Thomas.
Thank you. So let's see that I don't miss anything that Sandra, who's the actual boss, told me to say. So she asked me to remind you that the messages will be very soon, of course, published. And that is the tangible takeaway of the 2 intense and great days that we've had here in I was supposed to be sunny, but sun-hearted The Hague. And of course, another reminder is, as you have heard several times during these 2 days, we are the first ones to start, hopefully not the only ones, to start a consultation process among European stakeholders on the report of the high-level panel that has been issued last Monday last week, and the website and everything will be up beginning of next week. So spread it among your circles, among your communities, invite everybody to comment because that is a space that we really hope that you will use. So these are the 2 key messages from my side, and I think now, given that we all want to maybe have a drink somewhere, let me not lose time and start the process of revealing the secret of where we will go next year. Because next year is a special opportunity, actually. We will go to a place, and also physically to a place that is at the root of some developments in technology. It's a science hotspot in Europe. It is the institute that we will go to is called the International Center for Theoretical Physics. But they don't just do theories, they actually implement and produce quite tangible things. And the person that is here is not just a scientist, he's actually also part now of the Internet Hall of Fame, in particular for the achievements in internet connection in Venezuela and in other countries, in particular in Latin America. I read that he constructed the longest Wi-Fi connection, which is something like 382 kilometers long, whatever that means technically. He may be able to explain to you much better than I do. So sono molto contento di invitare a venire qui da me sul podio il signore Ermanno Pietro Semoli. Big applause. And he will tell you what the city is, of course.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, Thomas. And I really had a very wonderful time in this beautiful city, despite the weather. But I think that has been a very intense activity, and I really am very grateful to the organizer, to the organizing committee, and to the local organizer, which did a wonderful job. I think it's going to be very difficult for us to imitate or to reach those standards, but we'll try our best. So the ICTP is the International Center for Theoretical Physics, was founded by Nobel laureate Abdus Salam in 1964, and it's meant as a place to foster science and physics and mathematics, but also life science nowadays. So it's also applied physics. And as Thomas mentioned, we do a lot of activities trying to extend connectivity, especially in developing countries, using affordable means in places where the traditional communication infrastructure is lacking. So I think this is a point that is worth mentioning. And the venue for this activity is a venue of the International Center of Theoretical Physics, but also of the CISA, which is the International School for Advanced Studies. So we will have a very nice environment, and it's close to the beach, actually. So it's also a good point to keep in mind. And the whole city of Trieste is going to welcome you. Which is a very nice city, because it's a city which has a long tradition of openness and a long tradition of having people from all over the world, especially from places that are very often forgotten. So I think it is important that you be able to appreciate all the beauties of Trieste and also the neighboring country, because Trieste is very close to Slovenia and Croatia. So you can go walking into Slovenia from Trieste, okay, and biking to Croatia. So I think that I really like to appreciate the city, the venue, and the warm hospitality of Italy to all of you. And thank you very much, and see you next year around this time.
Do you have a video
The video, okay.
The video?
Yeah.
Trieste è una città di confine dove convivono in modo assolutamente unico lingue, etnie, addirittura geografie diverse come la montagna, il Carso e il mare.
La geografia, il paesaggio, la morfologia dell'area di Trieste sono quasi da considerare un miracolo. È un miracolo anche la ricerca scientifica, la tecnica, la capacità di innovazione che questa città oggi rappresenta per l'Europa.
Il sistema triestino è al tempo stesso un'espressione dell'universalità degli ideali scientifici e un esempio specifico, italiano ed europeo, di come pensare, promuovere e organizzare la scienza a livello internazionale.
Dei confini in realtà più severi che abbiamo oggi è quello tra la scienza e la comprensione umana di tutto ciò che la scienza sta trasformando. Forse Trieste questa volta può diventare anche il luogo di convivenza di questi due modi di vedere la realtà.
Thank you very much. So we look very much forward. Trieste is also one of my personal favorite cities in Italy for many reasons, and you will, those who don't know it yet, go there afterwards, you will know why. And we do not just have a representative of the core of the host team with us, we also have a representative of the Italian government with us. So Undersecretary of State for Public Administration, Mr. Mattia Fantinati. Benvenuto alla EuroDIG.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I was here today, and really the topics that you said in this event, and they are very, very interesting because it's about our future and how we want to and how we have to face the next future. And I'm a member of the Italian government, and I'm really proud and honored to be here and to receive this sort of flag between the and Trieste that represent that we are all united in diversity. We fellow Europeans, when we are walking to the same path of liberty and justice for all, to build a world of peace that recognizes the web as an unalienable human right. We all want an internet of freedom to foster civil liberties in our country. And I want to say our country, I mean the European country. Those events, and these events like where we are, I think that they are crucial to spread common views on issues that involve citizen participation and democracy. We need to develop common visions on these topics because the web must be used to strengthen democracy and civil commitment. We must engage our fellow citizens in such ceremonies because are the right way to raise awareness. Since the next step of this common road will be in Italy, and I'm very proud as a member of Italian government, I welcome this moment, and it's my pleasure to, in sort of way, to exchange this flag with you. Thank you very much.
Grazie, signor Sottosegretario. Please take a seat. So now here comes the historic moment, which we actually can only do because in 2011, our friends in Belgrade, the Serbian hosts, they actually had a flag made with the EuroDIG logo on it and gave it to us, i.e. at that time to the next host, which I think was Lisbon. So the flag is here, so we need to have the representative of the host, the fabulous host of this year, which is Helen Oid de Haag, I hope I speak it more or less correctly, which from the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate Policy, to hand over the flag to our next host, and then you're formally relieved.
Maybe I can add in Italian, in bocca al lupo. I thank you very much for being here. It was an honor also for all the guests, and it's an honor that we can go to Trieste. I'm very curious. I've never been there. I wish you all the luck.
Well, thanks again, and I hope we'll be able to meet the very high expectation that this event has created. And I really think that you will be enjoying the city and enjoy the particular environment in which there is this is the city that has the highest percentage of scientists in Italy. And there are about 30 institutions, scientific and education institutions in a very small city of only 200,000 inhabitants. So I think this is a good point for this kind of meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, I'm not sure whether we actually gave, now do you know the place, which is a fabulous one, Trieste, at the dates. I think we haven't mentioned them yet. It's December 21 and 22 of 2020. No, of course not. It's June 10 to 12, am I right? 10 to 12, so the sea will be warm enough and the drinks will be cold enough. So I think this is something to mark in your calendars and to Twitter and communicate through all the channels. So June 10 to 12 in Trieste with our Italian host will be the next EuroDIG. So now I think it's time for me to stay silent and hand over to Sandra because she has a few things to say as well. Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you, Thomas, and thank you, Manu and Mr. Fantinati. Thank you very much. I said it already in my opening speech that this year was a particular honor because of the warm hospitality and cooperational way the Dutch people are working. And I would really like to thank our host team and some people in particular. I know usually there are many more people involved, but we had very close contact with at least some of them, and I would like to ask them to come to stage to say thank you to you. First and foremost, please, Arnold van Rijn. He was answering emails even late, and I must say there was never any minute where we had any dispute, any tension. It was really a great, great pleasure to work with you. And Arnold, yes, you get one of those little parcels, but you also get our EuroDIG certificate and a little EuroDIGger. That is literally the thing that the hosts are getting since, well, meanwhile they have all one.
Thank you so much. May I?
Please stay here.
May I say something? I would like to say something, because to organize such a huge event, it's a tough work, and you depend on others. Not only myself, but I must take some gratitude to our whole entire host team, who did a tremendous job. Nothing was too much. Even during the evening, they did their utmost. And we had all the noses the same direction, so we got a lot of energy and dynamic, and so cooperation within that team was fantastic. The same is true for our cooperation with the EuroDIG Secretariat, Sandra, Rainer, and of course the EuroDIG Association with its partners and sponsors. It went fluently. Furthermore, we must thank you here in the room, and also our remote participants, because we are just facilitating that this event can take place here in The Hague. Nothing more. But it's you, the stakeholders, who filled in these workshops, these plenaries from bottom up. That's the multi-stakeholder approach, and it worked. That I think we can say that. We have still to wait for the Hague messages, but I think they will be very successful, which then can feed into the global event in Berlin. And last but not least, I would thank the reporters, more than 30 reporters from the Geneva Internet platform, who did a tremendous job by reporting I don't know how many sessions. And the reports will at the end feed into these messages from The Hague. So thank you also to these reporters. And in fact, if we can look at the theme of our event, we did cooperation in the most perfect way. Thank you so much for that.
Stay here. Stay here. Yeah. Thank you, Arnold. And just to give you some more faces to those who made EuroDIG possible, one of the next person, right after Arnold, I approached in Geneva if they can do the EuroDIG in The Hague, was Marjolein. Marjolein, please come to the stage. Marjolein, I think she deserves a special applause because she stayed in this dark room for almost 2 days. I think you need some sun now. Yeah. Marjolein was basically the one where I said, convince Arnold.
I did.
And she did a good job in this. And also the platform that you are responsible for, ECP, did I say it right? What's the right name?
It's ECP, but it's the Platform for the Information Society. So we live public-private relationships and multi-stakeholder dialogue. And also we are the Dutch IGF. We forgot that those days, but we are.
Thank you very much, Marjolein. And then I would call on stage the org team and how these telephones are. Now my my screen disappeared. So first of all, I would ask Vanessa and Daphne to come to the stage. Vanessa and Daphne, are you in the room? Oh, they are far in the back. you know how it is with people that are very busy. You always need someone to make sure that they are really reading the messages. So in each email I wrote to Arnold, I put Daphne in copy. And the same goes for Vanessa when I had to write to Marjolien. So they were basically the left and the right hand to the both of them. That was at least my feeling. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you as well. Yeah, thank you as well, Sandra. We had a really good cooperation together, and we made it a wonderful event. So thank you as well.
Thank you. And then we had another very great cooperation partner, which was the City Council of The Hague. They literally joined from the very first moment when we had our kickoff meeting last year in September. One woman was already in the room, that was Salima. Salima, please come to stage. And basically, he deserves the applause for last night's incredible party. Salima, I know that was the first step into the internet governance community for you. How did you perceive that? What kind of experience was that for you?
Well, first of all, it was a pleasure and an honor to welcome you all here in The Hague, and it was so far so good. It was amazing to have you all here, and we're looking forward to the next EuroDIG.
Thank you. And then one person I know already for quite a while, but he had a very crucial role in getting the youth engaged. You saw him a couple of while ago. Auke, please. Auke was the coordinator of all the youth matters. So he was taking care of the logistics. For the program, we had a bigger team, but he was responsible for the logistics and so that they have all food. You mentioned how you organized it already, but since not everyone was in the room, maybe a few words on this?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah, so what we did, we had a 3-day pre-program before EuroDIG, or actually 3.5. We started Saturday evening with a welcoming dinner, and then we had multiple sessions during the other days, and we had amazing social events as well, just to get to know each other really good. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
I think you did an amazing job in involving the youngsters. And then the last cooperation partner from SIDN, Martin Simon, he had to leave earlier because he had some teaching obligations today. He's unfortunately not here, but I'm sure you will pass over the present to him as well. So a round of applause for the for the host team, please. And Arnold, since you mentioned almost everyone and my screen disappeared, where I made my notes, whom else we have to thank, let me just add my personal special thank goes to my colleague Rainer. I know he is not keen to come to stage, but at least stand up so that everyone has at least an idea where you are. I must say the preparation process for the plenaries and workshops is meanwhile so complex, and we are offering quite a lot of service. And focal points and org teams will remember that basically it was Rainer who was chasing them, helping them, assisting them with so many little things to do. So he did really a remarkable job. Some people had the impression he's working day and night, and sometimes I had the impression too. Thank you very much, Rainer. And then also not to forget that we had the EuroDIG program committee, we had the reporters, Arnold mentioned it already. We have a captioning team that we are working with since almost from the beginning of EuroDIG. There are 2 captioning teams in the world, as I know, that are familiar with these funny acronyms in our community, and one of this is taking care for the IGF and other NRIs as well as EuroDIG. So thanks to Roy. In case he is in the room, I don't see him. And of course the technicians. the technicians who went also a little bit beyond their usual jobs and tasks, because they somehow had to manage remote participation, which is more than streaming only. That's what they experienced here too. They were not the first. And in this respect also Bernard Zadaka. Bernard is with us since 2010, 11, I don't know, and trying to troubleshoot and bringing the knowledge of remote participation not only to the youngsters that were trained as remote moderators during the EuroDIG, but also to the technical people if they really haven't yet got what it needs to have experiences like we had today when Vlada was moderating a panel. And I hope I did not forget anyone. If yes, please blame it on the phones. I should have used old pen and paper instead of a screen that disappears, probably deleted it. Thank you very much.
Well, of course, you always forget somebody, which is, of course, herself, Sandra. Without her, nothing would work. Of course, there's others, but Sandra is really one of the core persons also keeping this together. And thanks in the name of everybody for being here and continuing the journey with us to Trieste. Thanks to everybody. So this is the end, if I'm not mistaken. So again, 10 to 12 June next year in Trieste. Look out for the messages, send them around and participate in the consultation and discussions on the high-level report. And tell everybody that EuroDIG is great and it's their own fault if they have not come. Okay, thank you. See you next time.